Good morning, everyone. Everyone doing well today? Some of you have an interesting evening? Good. This is it. This is your last day. It's your last chance to take it all in. From today forward, your life's going to change. One of the things I've noticed in the last couple of days is that I've been getting cut short, and I barely get going, and to the point where I want to say something. So I'm going to skip the blessing. Wait. I'm going to do it at the end instead of at the beginning, because I want to tell you about it so that you can understand what's going on. So I'm going to start out by saying this. In our tradition, the old ones say that the amount of energy, the amount of power that you have, is an exact relationship to the size of your concentric circle. Now, does anybody know what a concentric circle is? A circle within a circle within a circle. So you could say that the first concentric circle of my existence is me. Me is the first circle of energy. The amount of power I have depends on how large my circle is. And one of the things that enlarges my concentric circle is how much I am willing to take in without editing it, without judging it. And you're going to find that very, very interesting when you start getting into this field, because you're going to find that you need to be really, really open to things that are going to be thrown at you. So what I want to talk about is, really quick, I want to talk about the directions and what they mean. I also want to say this. Just because I do not understand an energy, does not mean that it does not affect me. So many people, although they are aware of the directions, they have no idea what the energies of the directions mean, or they have no idea that they're even being influenced by these directions. But they are being influenced by them. Why do you think it is that the compass always points north? You're going to find out. That's a real interesting piece when I finish telling you about what the directions mean. In fact, I bet that most of you sleep with your heads in the same direction every night. And what I mean by that is the bedpost of your head, it points in the same direction every night, which means that you are influenced by that direction, the energy of that direction every night. So if you change the direction that you sleep in, it's going to affect your energy. It's going to affect your dreams. Everything's going to change. But you can find that out for yourself. Anyway, the north. The north for us is called the place of knowledge and wisdom. Each direction has its own color. It has its own animal. The north is called the place of knowledge and wisdom. I call it the practical place. The north is what we call the practical, reasonable, has to make sense place. It has to be logical. It is masculine in nature. It rules the head and the throat. So you could say the person that knows the most and speaks the loudest is the one that rules, right? So that is north energy. Now, if I keep going in a northerly direction, I'm going to run into what? I'm going to run into snow, the North Pole, right? So they say that as you get older and you get wiser, your hair turns white, like the snow. Now, one of the things that happens with northness is that we get stuck in the north. We get stuck in the north because we attain so much knowledge, but what happens is that we don't pick up the wisdom as we go along. We just have the knowledge, but we don't have the wisdom that goes along with it. And so you'll find a lot of people that get stuck in the north in their knowledge, but they haven't attained the wisdom that goes along with that. So one without the other it throws you off balance. Now what happens if we get stuck in the north, which means I also call it the place of words. The north is the place of words. It's where my rational lives. So I rationalize everything. And when a person is in their north place, you cannot win an argument. And it's very, very easy to hook into someone's northness. All you have to do is ask them a question. If you want to hook into anyone's northness, just ask them a question, and you've got them. And then you have conflict. In fact, you're going to find that almost all conflict originates in the north. It originates here. Now, because my northness is my place of knowledge, it's the place that defines me, I defend it with everything I have. So a lot of the battle happens in northness because I will defend my description of the world. I don't care what you think. This is the way I see it. This is the way it is. Now, that's okay, except that when you get stuck in the north, you become like the north. And you become very cold. You become very calculated. You don't want to be around anybody because you already know everything. And other people irritate you. I hate being around other people because they don't know stuff. You know? And so that's what happens when we get stuck in northness. And it can be a very lonely place. North energy types tend to isolate themselves because they just don't like being around other folks. So we can get caught in the directions as you'll find out. Northness reminds me of Spock. Spock is like a really cool dude, except he has no feelings and no emotions. Now I get people that come out to the desert, and people come out for all various reasons. Some people are seeking, some people have real life situations going on in their life, physical situations, emotional, mental, spiritual. And so they come out for all these various reasons, and a lot of the people that come out are stuck in northness. They just can't get Lench. I just think too much. I'm always in my head. So when people come out to the desert, the first thing I do is I erase the things that attach them to the northness. So, which means when you come out, if you decide to come out, here's where I'm going to lose everybody. No one's going to want to come out now. You're not allowed to read. You're not allowed to listen to the radio. No television. No cell phones. I disconnect you from the world. Because that forces me to have to listen to my own internal dialogue. Oh my God. What is going on in that head of mine? And I can tell you, first couple of days, it drives people crazy. I mean, some folks are ready to climb the walls. It's like, what do we do? You know, because they're not used to hearing their own internal dialogue. And that's the first step to wisdom. I got to know what's going on in here. What am I saying? So that's northness. The color is white. The animal that represents the north is the white buffalo. The white buffalo represents, in our tradition, wisdom. So what is knowledge without wisdom, right? Now, when a person comes to me and they're stuck in the north, the first thing I do is I immediately immerse them into the energy of the south. South energy. And the south is called the place of trust and innocence. The place of trust and innocence. It's the place that is feminine in nature, and it rules the heart and the emotions. It is very intuitive. Does it surprise you to know that our natural state is to be intuitive? What has happened to that? You're going to find that the first thing that will erase intuitiveness is northness. You know, because northness immediately questions intuitiveness. Northness always questions the heart. The old ones say you'll never find balance in your life unless you bring child with you. So southness is also child, the place where you find child. It's the place of innocence. It's also the touching place. The south can only be experienced. It cannot be talked about. It cannot be talked about. And so that's why you find people have a very hard time describing feelings and emotions. You know, because we say that south, anything that happens in southness is a gift from creation. So whatever you experience is a gift from creation. And so when folks come through their north and they say to you, well, how are you feeling right now? How are you feeling? Tell me what's going on. You go, well, and you play Irmas. Because southness is hard to describe because It is non-describable. It's a personal experience. The South is a very personal place. So if you ask 50 different people what love means, guess what you're going to get? You're going to get 50 different examples of love, because it's a South experience, and it can only be experienced by me. Now, experience also means that it's a touching place. So the tendency of Southness is to want to touch, because the only way you can experience something is to touch it. And so what do you, if you see kids, if you watch kids, what do? Oh, what's this? Oh, look at, oh, what's this right here? Oh, what is this? They touch everything, don't they? The reason they touch everything is because they have to experience the world. The place of trust and innocence. Take the word innocence. In no sense. The place of no sense. Kids don't think about it. They say, come on, jump in the mud. Let's play in the mud. Let's go climb this tree. Kids are very spontaneous. So one of the characteristics of Southness is that it's spontaneous in nature. We don't think about it. Let's just do it. How else will we know? Okay? So Southness is about experiencing the world. Excuse me. Once in a while, you will get a person that is predominantly South energy that will hook up with a person that is predominantly North energy. South energy person will go to North energy person and say, feel me. Why don't you just feel me? Feel what I'm saying to you. North person will look at South person and say, what the hell are you talking about? I know exactly what you're feeling. Are you kidding me? I teach this stuff. You don't have to tell me. And never the two shall meet, because one's coming from here and the other one is coming from here. It is the nature of Southness to want to touch, because that's the only way. It's a hard place. It's a hard place. Now, isn't it interesting? Scientists are constantly catching up to us. I just love that. Scientists have recently discovered that if they take a live heart tissue that is beating, they will take tissue from that heart, they'll put it in a petri dish, it begins to beat independently of itself. They'll take another piece of another heart, put it in a separate petri dish. They'll do that with 3 or 4 dishes. They're all beating independently of themselves. Suddenly they'll take this one over here and they'll put it in the same petri dish with this one over here, and what do you think happens? They begin to beat simultaneously. And a third one, and a fourth one, and a fifth one, and they all begin to beat simultaneously, and they're going, oh my God, what have we just discovered? Well, what we've discovered is that it is our natural state to be in harmony. It's our natural state to be in harmony. Now, isn't that interesting? As long as we follow the heart, we'll be in harmony. You know? So what happens, right? Somebody comes along, they hook into my Northness. Where were you last night? What were you doing? Why didn't you call me? They don't have no phones? Boom! They just got into my Northness. And my Northness means that I am going to defend myself. The characteristic of Northness is this. I walk in a defensive stance. Northness always has an agenda. And so I walk in a defensive stance. And so my Northness puts a shield around me, and it prevents me from Southness. So when someone hooks into my Northness, the only thing that results from 2 people going to battle in Northness is pain. And so 2 people are battling back and forth, because I'm not going to change. My belief system now versus your belief system, and I know I'm right, and no one wants to budge. So the result of all battle is that sooner or later someone's going to cut real deep. They're going to draw blood. The way you draw blood is you say something that you know really gets in there deep. Once you draw blood, the other person is in so much pain, they say, I don't want to be in pain by myself. They draw blood. So then you have 2 people enmeshed in battle, both drawing blood, until pretty soon the result of all battle is weariness. So sooner or later, one person will have to back down, and you can't fight by yourself. So you have 2 people sitting there looking at each other, and they're thinking to themselves, oh my God, can't believe I said what I did. And you know what? It's so sad because I cannot take it back. And nobody knows what to do. Nobody will make a move. So if one person has the courage, and that's what it takes one person to have the courage. The one person will walk up to the other one. They'll step out of their north. They'll step into their south, the place of no words, and they will embrace the other person. And we call that a heart-to-heart connection. The only way to heal the heart is with a heart-to-heart connection. Once they embrace, there's no words necessary. The healing does all by itself. It begins to heal all by itself. So the way you heal is without words, by doing it. By doing it. Northerners is a very rough place. Now let me expand your circle a little bit more here. What continent do we live on? North America. Now think about it. The only thing that matters in this country, in this continent, is how much knowledge you have. How many degrees you got? The only thing that validates us in this continent is how much knowledge have you amassed. And that's how we validate each other in this continent. You know, we don't even know how to embrace. You know, we kind of do the cheek-to-cheek thing, right? But a true embrace, what's wrong with you? You know, we look at each other like it's an alien thing to us to really embrace. So, even the symbol for us, for the U.S., the symbol is the eagle, right? What color is the eagle's head? White. Now let's step into South America. If you've ever been to South America, what color clothes do they wear? All colors. And what do they do there? They can't get enough of you. They hug all the time. They hug. They go to the store. They hug. They hug. They hug. They hug. Okay. And the symbol of South America is the condor, which is the symbol that represents the heart and intuition. So North America, South America, heart, head. Interesting, isn't it? It's very interesting. So we got to bring more southness into North America. And this is what's doing it. This is one of the reasons I come to this, is because it makes me feel so good to see people that are learning about their southness, about their own intuitive abilities. Because that's what's going to save us from ourselves, is getting out of our north and just trusting. Now you'll notice a characteristic of the north is that they don't trust. North people don't trust because that is a characteristic of northness. Southness, it's natural. The feminine side, the intuitive side, it automatically trusts. Children trust. So I need to nurture that side of myself so that it'll wake this part of myself up. The pituitary gland, the third eye, then, you know, there's a lot of truth to use it or lose it. If we don't use the intuitive, we'll lose it. It's that simple. And we keep the intuitive alive by trusting and by cultivating our dreams. Dream state is intuitive, isn't it? So, what color is the heart? Red. So the color of the south is red. And the animal that represents the south is the little mouse. Closest to the earth, touches everything with its whiskers. Okay? So the little mouse represents southness. And then we have west. West is called the looks within place, the place of introspection. The old ones say that the west is the most powerful of all the directions. They say it is the place where you will find all answers to all things. But there's a catch to it. The catch is this: the west is guarded by what we call the Kachina of shadows. The Kachina of shadows. This is the place where our fear lives. This is where our shadow place lives. The old ones say, until you walk through that shadow place, you'll never have true balance in your life. So one of the things we do when you come out to the desert, we visit the west. We visit the west. Because you can't move anywhere till you get to know the west, till you walk into that place. The color of the west is what happens in the west every day. Once the sun sets, what color is that? Black. It's nighttime. So the color of the west is black. The animal that represents the west is the black bear. Bear medicine is very, very powerful medicine. The west is called the place of introspection and the looks within place. So it's also the place where you find courage. You cannot build your courage until you walk into your shadow place. That's where courage is born. So courage, you'll find a lot of people when they're going to work with shadow wishes in our tradition, when they're going to go into battle or do those types of things, they'll wear bear medicine. Because bear medicine helps me or gives me the courage of bear to face anything. I know no fear. When I walk in bear medicine, I know no fear. There's a saying that says, fear knocked on the door. Faith answered. And there was no one there. There was no one there. So faith is a characteristic of West and South. And then you have the East. What happens in the East every morning? The sun rises. We call that the place of illumination, the place of inspiration. So powerful is the direction of the East that every animal in creation honors the East. Every single morning. What do you hear outside your window? Every bird in creation honors the coming light. They sing, they celebrate every day. A lot of native peoples do the same thing. We celebrate the rising sun because we knew that it's another day of wisdom. Inspiration. Inspiration has a root word, spirit. To me, it means to be in spirit. And when you're facing the East, if you're really watching and you're facing the sun and doing ceremony, you can't help but to, your arms will go up. You'll be filled with light. You'll be light. You know, and it's one of those beyond words places. The East is also the place within us that honors that part of us that knows that we are connected to all of creation. We're connected to all of creation. We are in communion with creation and all of its manifestations. So before we go into Sweat Lodge, before we go into the Kiva, the Longhouse, or any of those sacred places where we go to pray or do ceremony, we say, Aho Metakwiyasan. Aho Metakwiyasan. It means all my relations. All my relations, because we know that we're a very small part of all of creation and that we're all connected. We're all in equal par. We're no better or any less than all of the things of creation. And so we surround ourselves with these things from creation. So now you know what the directions mean. Now you know that they are more than just directions. They're more than just directions. So the place of the north, if you are having trouble with clarity, mental clarity, or your words get in the way, those kinds of things, you face the direction. You leave some tobacco, you do a little ceremony, you leave some tobacco and you say, Creator, help me to clear my mind. Open my mind. Let wisdom come into me. Let my knowledge get out of the way. Let me integrate this knowledge so that I may become wisdom. You know? If you're having trouble being inspired, you face the East. Creator, let spirit come into me. Let light come into me. Let me be inspired. It's the place of creativity. Southness. Maybe I have forgotten how to play. The biggest lesson of the South is this. Quit taking yourself so dang serious. Quit taking yourself so serious. What is the biggest killer in the U.S.? It's called stress. And stress comes from we've forgotten how to play. We have totally disconnected from southness. Did you know that before the 40s, the word stress did not exist? It didn't even exist. It's a word that became born of the industrial age because we went faster, 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 faster. Before it was called stress, it was called grief. People would allow themselves to grieve. And now we're so busy that we don't give ourselves time to grieve, so it builds up into this new thing, a new term that we've coined, stress. And it's killing everybody because we just don't take time for ourselves. You know, isn't that interesting? So we have to remember to do those things. We have to honor ourselves to keep this balance, going. So now you know what the 4 directions stand for. I encourage you to do that. Now, another thing we use a lot and we participate in is this thing called ritual. Ritual comes from the Latin word ritualis, which means to complete. So ritual helps us to complete ourselves. Now, I have a lot of people that come out to the desert, and I've always been fascinated with the words because words are so powerful. And one of the words that would come up a lot was the word heal. Can you help me heal myself? Can you help me heal my body, my spirit? And I thought, wow, what a powerful word. I wonder where this word came from, so I looked it up. And it has its derivatives in German text. It's very, very old, and it comes from a word that means to make whole. To make